But so like a kind of a common thread, and this is what I think is so cool about starting strength, whether you're working with a younger guy, in this case might be 30s, 35, 40, or someone who's more advanced, everyone generally comes and seeks out this program for kind of the same reasons. Hey, yes, I want to look better. Hey, everyone wants to, look better aesthetically, but mostly it's, I want to be able to do the things I want to do. I want to be able to bike ride. I want to be able to do a triathlon again. I want to not have pain when I'm doing medical procedures. I want to know how to deal with psychiatric patients. And so if I torture myself in the deadlift, maybe I can relate more. But everyone's kind of coming for those same reasons. And so a couple of things I like to say first is kind of remember that, because the great thing about starting strength is you'll make so much progress very rapidly. The thing that I see people kind of mentally struggle with as they get stronger is the hard thing about starting strength is you get used to, hey, every time I walk in the gym, I get stronger. And then all of a sudden that stops. And so I always like to tell lifters from day one, like, hey, zoom out, and not to sound like a Baptist preacher, but like, remember the why, remember why you were here. And, whether you deadlift 300 pounds or 330 pounds, it probably doesn't really matter, right? The process in and of itself is just as important as the numbers on the bar. The way I like people to think about that is, you're born, you're getting older, and each year you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger, right? My wife and I are expecting our first baby in October. So I've always used this thing, but now it'll be even more fun to do as I see it happen. But like, Connor's baby, for example, is a little over 2. And it's every time I see her and I come back here and I meet up with him, it's like, wow, I can't believe how much bigger and stronger and more able to pick up random stuff and throw it off the table than she was, 3 months ago. And so we all know that. We've all seen children in our lives in this progression of growing. And then as you grow up and get stronger and stronger, at some point, things start to go the other way. At some point, you say, hey, I'm 40 and I have these weird pains in my back or, whatever it is. And so the reason that happens is when you're little and you're getting fed milk, you're growing and your muscles and your tendons and your ligaments are all getting bigger and stronger. But then what happens? Well, a lot of us in the Western lifestyle become sedentary. The nature of work these days, the way things are in 2024 compared to the 1800s are a lot different in terms of physical activity. Lots of things are done on computers and online. So sitting down. And so at some point, you're no longer growing up and you start growing backwards almost, right? You start atrophying. That's what we call it. Sarcopenia. The Greek word sarco means, flesh, and it literally means flesh loss. And so as you get stronger, your muscles start to deteriorate. This is why you see old people with canes. This is why you see people, grabbing things when they're walking around to keep their balance. This is why you see people in wheelchairs, as they get older. We can all probably think of a grandmother or a mother or something. And over time, you go in, I would say my grandma in Worcester, Massachusetts, I'd walk in, I'd be like, oh, there's a cane in the corner. That's weird. And then the next year you go back and she's using the cane to get all over the house. And the next year you go back and it's like, oh, wow, this is like Walker situation. Hey, we want to take grandma to the mall, get the wheelchair, put it in the back of the car. And it's this deterioration that happens. And I still remember one of the last views of my grandmother's, my dad sitting there, with a spoon, roles reverse, from 68 years ago or however, and he's feeding her. And so there's a lot of things that we can't control, right? A car accident, cancer, some type of disease. I'd make the argument that a lot of these things, dietary lifestyle changes, you can fight some of them, but some things are out of our control. Your physical strength is 100% in your control. And you do not have to atrophy. You do not have to end up in a wheelchair, but it's hard. And that's why the starting strength program is so effective. And that's why we choose the list that we do, the squat, the bench press, the press, and the deadlift, because they train all of you.